What is up, beautiful people of the internet? My name is Roland and today we are going to take a look at GTA 4 to determine if it's still worth your time and money. But first off, I would kindly suggest that you subscribe to the channel in case you enjoy what you see and want to see more in the future. Okay, with that out of the way, let's jump into it. If I lost my voice, it's because I'm recording this the second time, because the first time I was listening to music in the background and that also got into the recording, so there you go, professional YouTuber. GTA 4 was released in April 2008. Damn, I was still in high school planning on what should I do next with my life, feeling lost and scared of the unknown that is called future. Little did I know that eventually things will turn out, and although it will take many years, I will eventually know what I want to do with my life. Okay, that's besides the point, back to GTA 4. I was pleasantly surprised as to how much I've enjoyed my time with this game the past couple of weeks, from the charming characters that flood the world to the wanky humor and ice skating cars. This game truly has it all. It definitely did not feel like a 13-year-old game, and it still packs a punch if you want to turn your brain off and immerse yourself in its world. Now before I go any further, I will have to admit to the fact that I did not finish this game yet. I usually finish the games that I do videos on, but I really want to take my time with this one and enjoy it whenever I feel like it, because I've noticed that it really helped me disconnect from the world and immerse myself into the role of Nico. Now, let's talk about the gameplay a little bit. You know the drill by now with these games. You drive here, bang bang, people die, and then you drive to the next mission. Purely gameplay wise, the game is quite average, with the cars feeling like you are in Alaska and are constantly driving on thin ice. I really disliked initially the lack of realism when driving around the streets of Liberty City, but after a few hours of driving, it kind of grew on me, and eventually after you master it, it's quite fun. Another drawback of driving the cars is the sound of the engines. It sounds really basic and outdated, and that's something that you can't get around, so if you're like me, you just crank up the radio in the car and ignore the engine sound. As you will quickly find out, the GTA 4 soundtracks are quite enjoyable, and it really has every genre that you might like or dislike. Or even better, just turn off the radio and put on your favorite mix and enjoy the sunset in Liberty City as you forget about your day-to-day problems in your real life, unplug your brain from reality and enter the Matrix, that unlike Neo's Matrix, is chilled out, brainless, but ultimately a lot of fun. Another nitpick of mine when driving around is that if you play on a keyboard, you will 100% need to assist your driving with your mouse to turn the camera around. The game does a very poor job self-rotating the camera in the direction that you drive in, so this means that you can't just relax with your right hand as you pick your nose for the daily treasures or bite your nails like a little mouse, and although that's a good thing, I highly doubt that Rockstar had that in mind when they did this feature, or lack of feature. Now, it's not all bad, as you have a great variety of vehicles at your disposal, and if you are also into mods, well, the possibilities are endless and you can have almost any car that you want in this game. Moving away from the driving, another thing that I wasn't very fond of is the checkpoint system. So, when you fail a mission, which will happen to you no matter how good of a player you are, you get out of the hospital and get the opportunity to replay the mission if you want. The problem is that if, for example, you have to drive to a location and start doing your boom boom bang bang to kill people, instead of the game putting you on the spot for the boom boom to happen, you will also have to drive to the location all over again, which I think is a little bit unnecessary, and you could have saved some time investing it into do other activities, maybe progress the story or just enjoy your time in Liberty City as the sun sets, instead of doing the same driving over and over and over in case you are failing the missions over and over, which, I mean, in hindsight, if you're that bad at the game, maybe you deserve that. I don't know, I'm just kidding, let's move on. Now, another absolutely fantastic and very enjoyable feature, so to say, is that you have a tab in the menu that will allow you to check all sorts of random but interesting statistics on your progress so far, from the time played to the number of missions completed. It's quite detailed, and it was a pleasant surprise when I first found out about it. What wasn't a pleasant surprise though is the poor performance of the game. I initially thought that my PC, which is way above average, would be able to handle this 13-year-old game with everything cranked up. Well, little did I know that eventually I would have to play with the settings around, especially with the detail distance and the vehicle density, in order to get the frames that I enjoy playing on. After a quick search on Google, I found out some tips and trips to improve the performance, but it was still quite disappointing to see a game of this magnitude be so poorly optimized on the PC, so just keep that in mind when you think about trying out this game. Another hiccup that is extremely annoying is the lack of precision when you aim down sight. The The scope literally is sitting still while you try to slowly move the mouse around and put it on the bad guy's head. This makes it almost irrelevant on how good you are at aiming, as it ends up taking too much of your time, so you just spray on prey with no skill or precision, like your Sylvester Stallone in the early Rambo movies. Not in Rambo 4 though. Holy shit, that was awesome. Graphically, GTA 4 still stands the test of time, as it does show its age, but it's more than acceptable even by today's standards. And the physics in the gameplay make it feel like this is a more modern game than it actually is. So up until this point, you mostly heard me shit on this game, and yet you still heard me talk nicely about it in the beginning. Why? Well, it's the world that is gifted to you and the characters that populate it. Although I haven't finished it yet, the story of Nico is quite captivating, and for me, quite personal to be an immigrant into a country and to start from scratch with ambitions of achieving a lot of things. Now, while I am definitely on a different road than Nico is, I can feel his anger and frustration sometimes when he hits the brick wall, no matter how hard he tries to stay straight. Also, the characters that you encounter along the journey are quite interesting. This is a very rare occasion where you have both quantity but also quality in the people that you meet and interact with. At least that's how it felt for me. To come home after a long day when everybody is asleep and the work for the day is done, and just inject myself into GTA 4 had a therapeutical effect on me. It's dumb fun, it does not require a lot of energy or alertness, like for example a Doom Eternal would, but that's not a bad thing at all, as you can choose to have a relaxing evening playing this game. I would go so far as saying that this is a great Zen-like game, although I know that people have a different definition of a Zen-like game, but at the end of the day, for me it has the same effect. At least that's how I feel about it. And I appreciate it very much, as it helped me decompress quite a few times in these past couple of weeks. It's a flawed but very charming game that if you've never tried, maybe it's a good idea to give it a go. It's also quite accessible, as it currently costs 20 euros I think, and you will have many hours of gameplay and enjoyment on your hand by playing it. I gotta say, getting out of the car and eliminating some random driver in-game that hit you for no good reason feels really good, and it never gets old, and it's just a super nice way to decompress in a video game, especially because I drive a lot every day, man, and I see so many bad drivers. It's fantastic. And then when the cops show up, you know, in game, you can just either ride into the sunset and enjoy the sunset or the sunrise in Liberty City, or you can just pull out your bazooka and just take care of them also. So it's just, I don't know, man, it's such a relaxing game to play. So I will end by saying that GTA 4 is definitely still fun to play and enjoy, especially if you're looking for a game to just suck you in and ignore everything else, which in today's day and age is a necessity in order to keep your sanity in check. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found something to your information, something that was helpful here, or maybe I just entertained you for the last whatever minutes. As always, thank you for being here. Until next time, stay safe, stay clean, and stay strong.